Welcome to Tales from the Flipside, and welcome to the Prospect 10 list and roundtable discussion. All right, welcome in, everyone. Joining me today, we have Red Hood Comics. How's it going?
What's up, guys? Glad to be here. What's up? What's
We,
up?
we also have Phil, Vintage Comics and Toys. What's going on, man?
What's up, everyone?
Hey, it's Mercenite.
It's your boy. Holler at me.
And we got Tony, Blue Green Artifacts, man. How's it going?
Pretty good. What's up, everybody? I'm officially in it. I took a half day at work today, so I'm in a half price books afterglow right now.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, bro.
And then I'm Aaron Yee, aka Yeezy Yee. And you can catch me on Instagram or whatnot. I was on the road today as well, and I went to. I'm currently in Dallas, and I stopped at a Second and Charles and a store in Dallas and picked up some pretty nice books. But the reason you're here is our Prospect 10 list, so let's get right into it. All right. For our number 10 book, we have Deadpool number 5. So this book was nominated by the Mighty Mel V, who couldn't be here tonight. But the reason why he nominated this was because of the Garbage Pail Kids homage to it. The one thing I remember was when this came out, this is from the Scotty Young run. And I remember that there was a rumor saying that Garbage Pail Kids or Tops was going to do a cease and desist on this, and this comic was going to get recalled, which I don't think it actually ever went through because, as soon as it hit shelves on Wednesday, like stores immediately sold out. That's one thing I do remember about this. This is about the middle book in the run, and for the B cover, they had a Battle Lines variant of Gwenpool. So be on the lookout for those because I know those are starting to heat up a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised if that story is true, because as many homage covers as we've seen, how many Garbage Pail Kids have we seen? We got that what was it, the motherfucker, the MFKZ book a few weeks ago, but besides that, in this one, I can't even think of another one. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it ever actually went into court or anything like that to stop production of this, but I know that prices had dipped down a little bit for them, and then I wouldn't pay eBay prices for this. I would dig in back issue bins for them because you can find them for like $4 or $5 like cover price. All right, at our number 9 book, we have Superboy number 2.
Okay, so this is the 1 in 10 Elam March variant. This one is I'm gonna put this out there, and if anybody wants to sling any arrows at me for it, that's fine. This is Poison Ivy's best cover. This is strictly a cover by, and I believe in my heart of hearts, outside of say Batman 181, her first appearance, this is Poison Ivy's best cover where she is featured front and center. And this book is, I know over the years, this book has kind of gone up, and up. And I think it's around $75 book right now. But the potential is really high. Now, take this with stay away from CW Spec. But Poison Ivy was cast for Batwoman season 3. And again, stay away from CW Spec. But the only reason why I'm bringing this up is more anecdotal than anything. And I will say that since Poison Ivy is a premier Batman villain, I think this one is worthy of more attention and more eyes on it. I love this cover. I remember seeing this years ago. I fall in love with a lot of books, and this is one of them.
And one thing I noticed is that Jeff Lemire wrote this, and so like he's starting to heat up too a lot right now with a lot of he's getting a lot of attention from his writings. So this is definitely a book you should pay attention to.
Yeah, that's poison ivy in a flower, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And yeah, Poison Ivy's just got married with Harley Quinn, right? So I'm in publication spec.
It's official, man.
Yeah. So
I'm
more to
surprised
come
they
for
haven't.
Poison Ivy.
Surprised they haven't given her own ongoing. I mean, they're kind of making that transition from minor villain to kind of front and center.
Do we know if they were registered at Target? Like, could have gotten them a toaster or something, you know?
All right. For our number 8 book, we have Solar Man of the Atom number 3.
All right. Now, this is a favorite of mine for probably the past damn near 30 years. I love this book tremendously. So this is the first appearance of Toyo Harada and the Harbinger Foundation. If anybody's been paying attention to eBay, you might notice that all of the early Valiant keys, especially in 9/8 grade, have been bought up. And me personally, I don't know why, but somebody must be working on insider information, and I'm thinking we're going to see some screen presence when it comes to more of these Valiant characters. And in my opinion, this is the book to go with, mainly because this is the first appearance of the bad guy of the Valiant universe. He's like Doctor Doom, Magneto. I don't know, whatever. Like Lex. I was gonna say Lex Luger, but Lex Luthor. He's like all those characters roll up into one when it comes to the Valiant universe. So this is the bad guy. And another point to make, outside of a trade paperback from 1990, I think around 1994, I don't think this book can ever be reprinted again, just because Solar isn't under the Valiant umbrella. I'm not quite sure the logistics or the legalities, but it's a really good chance that this book may never be reprinted again. So, and I think this is the type of book that you should be able to find, for well under $30, especially a nice high grade near mint copy for well under $30.
Yeah, if you think DC books are on a low point spec wise, Valiant is way below that. So yeah, those should be. Everybody who's got one should be looking to get rid of them. I noticed that too, Carter. A couple weeks ago, or was it a week ago? Every once in a while, I do a little search just for CGC 9.8 sold, and I want to say there were like 12 or 15 Valiant 9.8s that went in one day.
Yes,
obviously one buyer.
Yeah.
Patrick, Dollar, and Brian all have a theory of who it is in the chat. I don't want to highlight it because I think it's it's kind of funny, but I don't want to point the finger at anyone.
Is it Dinesh?
I was trying to avoid saying that, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
He's a big believer, right?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
And then it's funny because like my uncle actually gave me a bunch of his Valiant comics, and then I don't remember if this is in there or not, but I think it is. So I'm glad he gave me a bunch of them. So,
well,
all right.
I was just gonna say, for things. I mean, things are getting optioned left and right. They're, all of these streaming channels. They got to have content. I mean, it makes sense. The world is already built. You get a good screenwriter. I mean, they can adapt this to a script and a good casting. I mean, anything is in play, right? I mean, it just seems like, I mean, it just seems like it could be inevitable.
Well,
And
one
Well,
thing
yeah.
I do remember was like after Bloodshot, they were like trying to do this whole like universe building, and so like maybe like this is signs of like maybe future projects that are coming up the road for that. I mean, I don't know if that's going to continue, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
But whenever like let's take that Bloodshot. There was so much negativity around that. As far as people poo-pooing Bloodshot, and it's a shitty comic, and so I mean that's what you're going to have to battle with these Valiant books if they decide they want to make a show or an animated series or something like that. There's always going to be haters that try and drive this down. So I
well,
mean,
in Bloodshot released, I think that was the first big movie that got murdered by COVID, wasn't it? Like
oh
Yeah,
it lost its release and it went straight to, if it had made a little bit of a splash at the box office, it might have got more press. I think some people liked it, some people thought it was dumb, but
well, you had
yeah, I mean
Dominic
things could have been
Toretto in
different.
there, man. I mean, Dominic
he's all
Toretto.
he's all about that family, right? All
You
right.
know, outside the niche, just pay attention. In 2018, DMG, a huge Chinese investment firm, bought out Valiant. So if we get those like Chinese buyers buying up these Valiant books, and Bloodshot didn't really have a chance with a pandemic, so something to keep an eye on. Valiant books, I'm not pushing Valiant books. Turok ones, I mean, I'm not. No, I mean those are not good investments right now. Good for the dip if if you buy them, see them in dollar bins, but just something to keep an eye on, though.
You could almost find every Valiant book in a dollar bin right now. So at that point, why not?
All right. For our number 7 book, we have Hulk number 7.
So I picked this book. This has been one of my favorite books for a very long time. Michael Turner's is up there as far as one of my favorite artists, and this cover is it's just been so undervalued for such a long time. So shout out to uh, Universe X. He had put this on his IG, and I hammered him back. I was like, man, I've had this on my IG about 3 or 4 times, and and then he said, well, there's a meeting of Moon Knight and Hulk. They fight, and I think it's the only time they fight. And I was like, oh shit! Right? So I went back and looked at it, and I don't know if you have any copies of the slides of their engagement, but it's pretty cool. Now, Ruffalo was spotted in what, what's
Budapest.
thank you. He was spotted in Budapest with Oscar Isaac, and you know, it could be something. He's on the set. It could be, you never know, and that's why I kind of felt like this would be good spec. Now Ruffalo's supposedly doing some other movie over in Budapest, so I mean, who knows? But it's plausible that you could have an appearance from Ruffalo. He's supposedly making an appearance in Miss Marvel, not Miss Marvel, the She-Hulk show. So I mean, you never know. I mean, but for all intents and purposes, this is the number 7 variant. It's a variant. It's a Michael Turner cover. It's just a jaw dropping Hulk. I don't think I've ever seen him drawn like that, man. It looks pretty badass. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Of the cover. The late great Michael Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's been hitting the roids there.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, he looks like Maguire, bro. He's taking some of that Andrew Osteen Dione, But yeah, dude, like that cover is just badass. Get in a 9.8, get that book slabbed. I mean, that book is just it's cheap too. If you want to get that book, that's like $10-15 book. It's easy to find them in a high grade. So, because people that pick that book up, they love that book. So,
Yeah, I mean, I know that Steve and Dollar are big fans of a lot of books in this run. I mean, so am I, to be completely honest. I mean, there's so many different events that you know that could be potential like source material that could come up in She-Hulk, in my opinion. So I think we've covered some of those books in the past, and then I'm sure there's more books that we plan to cover in the future.
and Donny Cates touching Hulk. That's the great Donny Cates, I might say. Uh, touching the Hulk book, anything's in play. He'll talk about some random Hulk book, and everybody go out and get it. And it'll be $100 book in like 5 minutes. So
In chat right now, they're talking about the different artists that have done Hulk: Dave Keown, Diodato, Ross. If you think about it, he's had so many different incarnations, kind of with different artists. Even Bill Sienkiewicz did some really cool, Sienkiewicz style covers with him. But yeah, this is definitely a Turner style of the character.
oh yeah,
Whichever one you like the best.
the only thing he's missing, Turner had the iconic hand. That's the one thing that the Hulk's not doing, which is surprising because that was like Turner's trademark with the hand coming out of the book.
Hmm.
But the lightning in the back and the background is just pops, man.
All right, let's move on to number 6. And we have X-Men Origins, Deadpool. So I actually nominated this book, and I remember when this book like first really popped was around the first Deadpool movie, and it's definitely taken a huge lull. And in the guts inside of it, it's basically Hollywood is producing a origin story of Deadpool, and he gets involved in the production of the movie and everything. So it's a pretty funny comic inside. But I definitely remember this book like popping for raw copies for like at least $50, like right up into the lead of the movie. They have definitely dipped down to the $20 range. So it wouldn't surprise me if this book and other Deadpool variants start picking up some steam as we get more and more announcements of Deadpool 3 coming up. So because there's more books than just New Mutants 98 for Deadpool that definitely get a lot of attention. I mean, it's one of those for Deadpool books. There's a big range where you could spend a lot of money for books, or you can be El Cheapo on it and just pick up books for like in the dollar bins, which is not a bad thing either, because a lot of these different variants do pop at some point in time.
Is that like an homage to a 007 like book or poster or something like that? Like Deadpool looks like James Bond right there with the gun. And
yeah, I don't know which movie it would be, but yeah, I think it does have to play off that, and then especially like since he's like doing the Hollywood producing thing.
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. For number 5, we have Vampire Tales. Which one is this? Number 2.
Two. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we had talked about these Vampire Tales books before. I think we had Vampire Tales Annual number 1, that one with the big Morbius face on it. This is first appearance of Satana, brother of Damon Hellstrom, both of which were in that Hulu show that no one saw. I got through about 3 episodes and I had to give it up myself. It wasn't. If you didn't know any better, you would never know that was a Marvel production or that it was about a comic book character at all. But that means obviously the Hellstrom and Satana books didn't go anywhere. It went down, if nothing else. We are just getting our toes wet in the area of horror. I think Moon Knight is going to be the gateway drug to the Marvel horror arena. We might see Dracula, we might see Werewolf by Night, we might see a lot of characters that pop up. If he's doing some kind of Indiana Jones adventures, I don't know. Who knows what that plot will be like, but this is a really old book. This is a magazine size book, which turns off a certain amount of collectors until they buy a larger short box that fits magazine size books, and then they can start picking them up. But crazy hard to get any of these in a 9.8. Many of them, there are 0 9.8s on the census. I want to say there's about 200 total for this book. I think less than about 10 9.8s. So if you can get an 8.5 or better, you're doing great. But I don't know. I just love this cover. Of all the first appearances in Marvel, I think this is the coolest cover on the first appearance, in my opinion. Love it.
That was the greatest trick, Merson. I thought you just had one, and then all of a sudden it's two.
I'm gonna tell you something about this book. I love this book. I remember having just one of these, and then coming across another one, and I couldn't be thrilled enough. So Satana is the chick. If anybody's not familiar, if you have Marvel Preview number 7, she's the chick. The first appearance of Rocket Raccoon. She's the chick on the cover of that book, and this is her first appearance in this book here, Vampire Tales number 2. Yeah, this is just a underrated character. I personally can't say enough good things about this book and how hard it is to find a half decent copy. Like, these are literally the only 2 half decent copies that I've ever come across out in the wild, and anything else is just chewed up and mangled and destroyed. So if you can come across just nice high grade copies, man, good on you. Good on you, and good luck to you.
Yeah, I watched Hellstrom. I watched the whole thing, and yeah, I kind of sucked at the end. But the actress who played Satana was just phenomenal. Yeah, that tall redhead, shit, she was great. And yeah, she was just so good.
Mama!
And yeah, Mama, yeah, real Mama. But you gotta wonder, like, they rescue New Mutants, right? And then they kind of took on Hellstrom and put it on Hulu. So, with Ghost Rider probably coming and Morbius, and who knows how they're gonna intertwine everybody. But I think there's good speculation here.
All right.
There's a good opportunity too, because of, out in the wild, not a lot of people go for that magazine size box. It's on the floor. It's in the corner. It's got a bunch of old Conan stuff in it and Fangoria.
Mad magazines.
Dig through that. Yeah. Dig through it.
All right. For our number 4 book, we have Black Panther number 8. This is the 8 cover. Oh, I think Phil was going to cover that, but he just froze out.
Is that supposed to be Shuri? Or
yeah, let me look up. This was nominated by Rob's Comics 81. This was strictly the love for the cover art done by Brian Stilfreeze and colors Laura Martin. Another amazing Shuri cover. And there's also a second print for this cover, as you can see here.
oh man, I like
cool.
this.
I didn't realize that.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is from the 2016 run. The value right now is only $4, so just a cover pickup. And then we also have the cover C or a variant for it. This is a Assad Ribic variant. He wasn't sure if this was a ratio or not.
Yeah.
But it's also the first cover of Shuri in the new costume.
I like the cover A.
Yeah, I mean the cover A. I mean the artwork just looks expensive. You know what I mean?
It looks like
Yeah, it looks like a
artwork.
Keith Haring piece. You know,
Yeah.
reminds me
Yeah.
of Keith Haring a lot.
Oh yeah,
the pop
that's-
artist.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that, like with all that line work. And Brian Stilfreeze, he's a pleasure to meet. Like he's hilarious to meet if you ever get a chance.
He's a hell of an artist, man.
Yeah, definitely. And then if he's with like someone that he's familiar with, like when I met him, he was sitting right next to Tony Harris, and they were just going back at it, back and forth, like, and it's just a pleasure to meet them. And yeah,
I don't know. The second printing looks more vibrant. You know, right? Go back to the first printing.
so this is a first print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm at my eye doctor. This is the first one. This is the second one.
And then here's the variant again with Shuri in her new costume. So yeah, and then this variant cover goes for about $10.
That's cheap.
There can't be a big print run on that second print of a number 8 either.
Nah, no way.
Probably not. Yeah, and then I bet you a lot of people overlook it because, I mean, you either have to look at the right under the title to see the second print or using the barcode trick. All right, for number 3 book, yeah, definitely. For number 3 book, we have Monsters Unleashed number 12 from the 2018.
Okay, whose pick was this?
This was nominated by Steve.
Okay, well,
My Bargain Comics.
so Kid Kaiju and Moon Girl team up outside the main title, and it's the first and only appearance of Miss Mech. And this character could appear in different books. She's an aspiring superheroine who spent most of her days watching anime. I mean, it's a character spec, right? I don't want to obliterate this spec, Steve. So don't hammer me. But it sounds like Miss Mech. It could be an opportunity for to jump into other books and in this world. I don't know.
And I think Moon Girl collectors are there, and there are. Mel's not the only one. They're looking for these appearances on other titles to add to their pile.
And it makes sense. If they do some kind of a series, and they're going to need some characters. I mean, it's, but it's a ways away. You know what I mean? But if there's a first appearance in a book and it's cheap, scoop it up. That's always been kind of my philosophy.
Yeah, and I'm sure with the new series that's coming out in the springtime, like a lot more people are also going to start picking up some of these back issues of Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur books.
Just off of this one, I want to kind of repeat something we said the weeks before. We are not telling people to go out on eBay and spend $15-$20 on anything that's on this list. This is ammo to have in your holster when you're out in the wild, when you're looking through dollar bins, when you're looking through back issues. If you see something for a reasonable price, and it's, this is speculation. It's not a guarantee that this is going to be a $50 book, but if it's at a cheap enough price point, it can't hurt to pick some of these up if you agree with the reasons for the speculation. So, it's not like Steve isn't sitting on 150 of these that he's going to try to
So
try to
no,
dump for $15 a piece. That's just stupid.
as a speculator, you kind of, does it check the boxes, right? It's
Right.
first appearance of a character, the potential option, right? Check. The casting could be in play. A voice actress, or who's doing the animation, where's it getting streamed to? All of those, like, could is what we think about, and when is it going to drop? Is it going to drop when the kids are at home? Is it going to get a lot of views? Would it be trending once it drops? So those are the things that we think about. So if you've got a first appearance of a character in a very inexpensive book, I mean, if you're out digging, this is what you scoop up. You don't leave without anything, you know. You know what I mean? Just talk to Merson out there. He always seems to scoop up the expensive ones, though.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Yep.
For our number 2 book, we have Invincible number 79.
I think Phil was going to cover this.
All right. So I'm not sure who nominated this book, but let me go ahead and just cover it. So Eve and Kate, Babe, Kate's twins. Kate comments that he sees how happy Mark and Eve are. Eve believes that she's unsure. Kate hands Abraham to Eve, and she looks at him, beginning to cry. Eve hands Abram back to Eve and goes outside. Mark goes outside after hearing what happened to Eve and Kate. Eve wipes away her tears and attempts to persuade her to tell him what's wrong. With enough persistence, Eve reveals to Mark that she had an abortion, much to his shock. Eve explains that to Mark, she couldn't be a mother alone. Mark begins to cry and apologize for leaving her burden to her. The duo hug, and Mark tells Eve he loves her. In the house, Kate is discussing with Immortal that she thought she loves Eve. She believes that her issues make her unable someone happy. Mark and Eve look into each other with tears running down their face. Controversial sells. Eve reveals that she had an abortion. The cover has her and Mark Grayson, Invincible, looking at another couple's toddler twins. The male rape issue of Invincible number 110 sells for over 100. When the animated show, at least 2 more seasons in the works, or planned movie addresses abortion with the national media attention, the value of this issue should climb.
Ain't no way in
Are there
hell.
any rumblings?
Yeah, ain't no way in hell they touch this. No way.
Well, it's Amazon. Like, I feel like they push more buttons than more people lead to believe. If you think about it, really,
Yeah.
like, look at The Boys. Like,
Yeah,
they pretty much do,
that's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much do whatever they want on that, and then so it wouldn't surprise me if Invincible kind of takes that same route to it. But I mean, who knows what buttons they push?
Are there any rumblings on this getting a live action version? I know there's speculation on it, but have there been any insider rumors on that? I haven't heard anything. I've
heard some rumors that it could happen, but it's not likely because some of those scenes are so extensive that I think it would be hard to do in a live action.
Hope that's not me.
I think it's Phil.
All
right.
Yeah, no, I was not a reader of Invincible, but that first season on Amazon was awesome. I think with enough money, and it would take a lot of money, you could, with money and a big pair of cojones, you could pull that off with live action. But yeah, I think there's a lot of Invincible books that have a lot of room to grow.
So like if season 2 is a hit, like then I think the volume will be raised on live action, because then it's like you've already got a template. You've got the comic book, then you've got the animated series. You've got a big enough template to go live action. You see what I'm saying? So I think that, and I was talking to Aaron earlier in the green room for the show, that a lot of these early issues are just being scooped up, on eBay and whatnot, and IG and Facebook. A lot of these are just flying. So,
all right, let's go ahead and move on to our number 1 book. We have A Vampire Tales number 8.
Yeah, well, I put up 2 Vampire Tales books this week. We talked about the number 8, the number 2, the Satana book already. This one, though, I think the Satana book might be a jump in now and hold on to it for 5 or 6 years. But this, we have the first solo story with Blade, the Vampire Slayer. Not a first appearance, but his first solo story. So minor key, if that first solo falls within the minor key category for you. I think a good comparison, though, is Marvel Spotlight. What is it, 2028? Is that the right one? The Moon Knight, first solo Moonlight story, came out actually after this, and 9.8s of that, or high grade, 9.6, 9.8. I mean, you're talking in the thousands of dollars. I think a 9.6 of this sold last week for like $500 or $600. So there's a lot of room to grow on this character. Blade is right around the corner. I mean, we know who's playing him. We're going to start hearing leaks about the plot, and then the other cast members. All the Blade stuff is going to ramp up quite a bit. And if it plays out well, which it should, Blade's going to be the first Marvel character to have 2. I mean, he could potentially have 2 trilogies, the old one, and then if this one leads into Blade 2 and Blade 3. So this is a major character, especially with, like we talked about, the horror realm coming up. So again, magazine cover, beautiful cover, hard to get in the high grade, everything we said about the last one. Carter, how many of these do you have?
Yeah, we're getting requests in the audience for you to palm up your copy
on a magazine. Can you do it? Ain't no way, man. No way you palm a magazine, bro.
Absolutely not. I could do it like this.
That's a hell of a pick, Tony. Man, it's even got a Morbius in there, So like for any of the Marvel horror collectors out there, I mean, but that's a hell of a pick, As soon as and Tony's right, man. As soon as you get rumblings, and then you get a little trailer, or you get some behind the scenes photos of on the set, and the speculation is just going to go rampant, man. Like, who's that character playing? Is Spider-Man going to be in it? It's going to be wild. It's hopefully all this COVID shit goes away so I can go to the movies, man.
Yeah. I would think the print run has got to be about the same between the 2 and the 8. But census-wise, the 8 has 200 some copies. The 2 has 50.
Oh wow!
So whoever bought that copy last week for $500-600 is is looking good.
And it looks like it was Chad Cave. No, I don't know. I'm just joking. I don't know if you actually did buy that or not, but if you did, congrats,
Way to go,
man.
Chad.
The
Yeah.
Chad.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and go into our roundtable discussion for tonight. And so I thought I'd bring up an interesting topic for this week. Since I'm headed to, or I'm in Dallas right now, and I'm going to Dallas Fan Expo. And so, driving on the way here, I was like, what would be an interesting topic? And for me, it was con variants and store variants. Do they is this something that we should be investing in, or do they retain value? And that's kind of like the question I'm posing to the panel tonight. And I brought a couple of different books examples, and then we shared some in the chat earlier today. And so I just kind of want to cover over this. All right.
It depends. Is that con variant? Does it have a first appearance of somebody in there? I mean, when you say invest, do you mean like invest like a stack, or like buy multiple copies, or?
Yeah. So I guess it just depends on what you're considering. I'm not saying go to a con and buy out their entire inventory of something, but I mean, is it ideal to pick up multiple copies and stuff like that? I think it just depends on what type of seller you are too. Like, as soon as you get it, are you posting it on eBay right away for that initial pop? Because I mean, that's what's going to happen. Because there's going to be oh, I want that, and then sometimes if you don't do that and you just kind of wait, the price simmers down, as you're going to see in some of these examples I brought for the discussion. But here's one book that who was it? That I know Steve has talked about a lot, but Chris brought it up again in our conversation earlier today. He was saying Naomi #1. So this was a con edition, and I believe it was given out during San Diego Comic-Con and New York City Comic-Con. And so I guess you could kind of consider it like the 5th/6th print. I know Steve has a pretty good article on mybargaincomics.com if you want to check it out. But, this book has definitely seen really good days and then really bad days. So, yeah.
No, I mean, that's good spec. I mean, even though it's a 6th print, how many are in high grade? How many are in 9.8? First of it, I mean, just put Miles Morales or Riri on the cover of that. What would we be saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Joe's dueling does bring up a good point. Weren't there stacks of these at those conventions? I want to say, yeah, I've heard that too. I mean, I didn't attend any of those conventions when this book was released, but anytime a publisher has a book like this, that they tend to just give out those books for free.
Yeah. Do you guys think? It seems to me that con variants, if you have the regular, the books that hit stores, and then con variants are just right under it in value, in reputation, in how many people are hunting it down, and then retailer variants are much more of a niche market. There's a lot of collectors who don't really get into any retailer variants. There's some people that just pick up a retailer variant if it has their favorite artist on it, or if they just connect with the art. There are retailer variants that do pop up in the secondary market. There's definitely examples of that.
Right.
But the vast majority don't.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well,
No.
I was going to say, and then also in between that level, where would you put store variants that are con exclusives? would that be somewhere in between like that, con exclusive line, and then in between like probably close to like the store variant line / right above? Like, I don't know. I mean, these are just questions I'm posing to the panel.
Well, no, they in the chat. I've said that there was like a 3,000 print run. So that that makes sense. I guess I would need to know the print run too. You know what I mean? Like just because it's a con exclusive, or you know what I mean. If they printed the shit out of it, I mean, that's what hurts it. It's the rarity that makes these highly sought after.
Well,
Right.
I'll tell you what happens at the con, right? So pre-show, right? The vendors and the helpers of the vendors at the show, they go at it with these con variants, and I'm guilty for it myself. But all those vendors and those let's say if Diamonds have been a special lunch, right, for people who to order a lot from Diamond. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get all the good copies first, and then that's if we can get our hands on it. Like Spawn and New York Comic Con, like that 300, that was I mean, Image was not gonna open the door, the line until the con opened at New York, like Thursday, like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So, you have that too. Then these con variants also sometimes they're not bagged and board; they're just stacked, And there's also times where everything is such in a rush to like set up for cons that there could be damages along the way. For the DC foil variants that they've been doing at their booth, like they don't even know what's like the people who work the booth don't even know how many they have of each one and what's in what's box. It's just a huge mess, and logistics of like a lot of people don't know what the logistics of setting up at a con and getting a con variant and stuff like that. But then there's also that thing where there's backup con variants as well too. So like some that they print some on the back end just in case some get damaged. So when publishers go to liquidate or they sell to other known vendors like VIPs, those also get out into the added on to the print run. So but yeah, I mean, it's always supply and demand. If a con variant is attractive and sexy enough and good enough spec, I would take a con variant over a store variant. Where in a store variant they can make another rendition of that exact same cover like a month or 2 months later.
No.
So I mean,
Yeah,
con variants are kind of hard to time. If you want to make another rendition.
I just wanted to say I'm real appreciative. I'm going to be helping Phil at the Baltimore Con, so that I can make sure that I get a lot of these exclusive. Thank you so much, Phil.
Yeah. I think aren't I the water carrier, something like that?
Yeah.
My job.
Well, don't forget, we also will be working the some of us will be working the Flipside booth too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'll have to take a break between both tables and kind
Well,
of.
And I don't think it's it. And Phil, you would know more than I. You go to a lot more cons than I do, but there's a lot of con variants out there. I mean, they don't all pop.
Right.
If it has those SDCC letters or NYCC letter, there's a few that get the attention. People search for them on eBay, basically. But I mean, every once in a while we'll get a Wizard World coming through Minneapolis, and I've seen variants there that I don't know, nobody cares about them. I don't know. I guess some people grab them, but they don't ever show up on any lists or anything like that. They're not sought after.
Off the top of y'all's head, like
yeah, no worries, James.
Off the top of y'all's heads, like randomly, like let's go with you, Tony. Like what con variant do you look for? That's like a grail for you. or like a must-have?
I don't know. I just, I had a Whatnot sale last week, and I gave away that Spawn 299 with the purple cover, the purple background, the San Diego
Wow.
Comic-Con. I think a 300 print run or 500 print run.
Wow.
Um,
What did that go for?
and that one never really, like, it right off the bat, it sold for like $200-300 raw. But even now, it's selling in a 9.8. It's selling for, I don't know, like $5 maybe. So I mean, that's not crazy. So I'm not sure. I don't really have one. I bet you got one though.
No, man. I mean, it would depend. Like, I don't really jump after like.
Your audio cut out, Joe. Joe, your audio cut out on the. But while you're fixing your mic, I'll go ahead and answer your question that you had asked. I mean, if there's a con variant I'm actively looking for, I guess it would have to be probably like maybe the Something Is Killing the Children Jay Lee cover.
Check, baby. 1, 2, 3, check.
All right, there you go. Yeah. And then I guess, I mean, I'm not going to pay the obscene amount of money that they're going for right now. I'll probably just wait until the Netflix series drops. So, I mean, it just like, I can give you a perfect example of one that I was looking for that when I went to a con that they sold out like instantly. And that was the John Boy Myers Batman Adventures 12.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so like when I went to that convention in Dallas, the one I'm at this weekend, and right off the bat at the booth, they were already sold out. Like I literally think all the vendors like picked up as many as they could, and then you could literally see them at every single booth for like 3 or 4 times the price of what it cost to initially buy into it. And then the funny part was that they had more for MegaCon and then another one for in Canada. Well, the one in Canada ended up having the different logo from what was it? When Rebirth started. So I thought that was kind of an interesting point. But then like I waited a year and then all those copies were like affordable. Like where it was like the initial cost to buy in on it, like $20, maybe 15 or whatever. I think I even got a signature series with the Air logo, like on eBay for like $80, maybe 100.
I remember that book because my buddy scooped one up for me, and like I remember like John Boy Myers, like after he did that book, there was a lot of heat on him, and it just didn't. I don't know what happened. He was on Teen Titans, right? And then he just had a falling out, left the title. But when he did that book, there was a lot of spec on John Boy Myers that he was going to be the next big artist, right? And it just didn't happen. It's like, it's like a baseball player that has like a great season, and then he can never replicate that.
I will say, because like what Phil was saying about how the cons work and how those exclusives work, and it's not just comics, right? It's the the action figure exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con and the poster exclusive or whatever it is.
I'm glad you brought up San Diego Comic-Con because it's our next book that we're going to talk about.
There we go. But it's not my favorite part of the market just because it is more unfair than anything than any other. If you for stuff that hits the comic stores, you've got a shot at it. You can pre-order stuff, you can get things even if they're rare. You can, if you're on top of it, you can find them. Even retailer variants, if you log on at that specific time and have your credit card info ready, you can get books for what the asking price is. But if you don't live near a con and you want a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that's hot right away, You have no choice. You got to pay premium eBay prices, and that's not, for most collectors, it's not really fair. There is a whole industry. There's people that travel to these cons just to go stand in line for these exclusives, go up to their hotel room, sell them, and then that pays for their trip,
Well, I can appreciate that, the grinding of that, just to, be flat.
Yeah, no.
Somebody's always willing to pay for these exclusives, I mean, that'd be a good one to have. Is that Donnie Cates goodness right there, bro?
Yeah. So this is the PX previous exclusive for Venom 3, which I think you were bringing up in our chat group, Tony, that it's a diamond book that that's like basically open to order with an asterisk because there's a limit to 4,000. But I mean, like even 4,000, that's a pretty high print run for a book. I mean, but I guess generally speaking, that 3K is like the minimum for anything that's like outside of the open to order runs and stuff like that.
It's a big print run for what we think of as exclusives, but it's a low print run for what we think of as late printings. So
right.
Yeah, like the 3,000 print run, 4,000, like it sounds like a lot, but how many people collect comic books?
Yeah.
2 million, 5 million? So like when we look at print runs, it's, oh man, they made like 10,000 of them. It's not a lot, when you think about it, I'm just saying, like, it's collectible. I mean, I like going after like a key book like that. It's a 4,000 print run. It's first appearance of Null. It's Donnie Cates. It's Ryan Stegman art. Like, it's not going to lose its value. So somebody will always want it.
Let's see, and then in Massive is saying that the Venom 7 previews is underrated.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and then the book right next to it is a Venom 3 store exclusive cover. I thought it was just like, it's a splash cover. And then for a while, like, I think some of the the stores were like blowing these out for pretty cheap. And then when, I think I had the full color version at one point, and I was like, I got it for so cheap. I was like, let me just slap it real quick and see what I can get for it. And when when Null was popping, like I dumped it, and then like someone bought it, and they were happy with it just because that was like their affordable way of getting first Null. So I mean, both parties were happy, in my opinion.
Now, if they had that third printing cover, right, and it was an exclusive, can you imagine, bro?
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, you also got to speculate on the publisher too. Like, I think IDW goes up to like 500 print run on con exclusives. Some of the more smaller publishers can get they could do whatever they want. They could do like a limit of 10, 50. So, going into a con or trying to purchase virtually, like, you definitely have to do your research, potential of the storyline being picked up and being optioned, things like that. But con variants, it's fun. I mean, I love collecting action figure con exclusives, and those are always hot at San Diego. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it just depends,
I'm glad you brought up IDW because I have, this is from San Diego at home Comic-Con. This is Usagi Yojimbo issue number 10, which was a convention exclusive. But Brian might get a little mad at me for showing this off. But like, I just wanted to point this out though. I thought it was kind of interesting that on August 18th we had an auction for a CGC 9.8 that sold for $121, and then like 4 days later, a raw copy sold for $150. You know, I thought that was kind of interesting. Kind of what's up with that? Like,
Well, one of them benefited charity, dude. Like,
yeah, I mean, you
I
know,
think to his comic collecting addiction, bro.
but I mean,
Whoever
yeah,
lost out on the first one got pissed off and paid premium for the second one.
Yeah,
they should have probably like sent an
which
offer.
could happen. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a beautiful cover, man. That is kick ass, dude.
Yeah, and it's a Momoko cover, so yeah, it's definitely like one of her. You know, a lot more people like look more after it, and then I want to say it has a lower print run than the one that came out that same year for New York City Comic Con.
You know, there is a book that showed up on Mr. Longshort's one of his ghost lists. That is an Emerald City Comic Con book. It's called Vox Machina number 1 from Critical Role. Critical Role is this total niche segment of Dungeons and Dragons. They've got like a Dungeons and Dragons podcast that they've been doing for years, where they have this whole cast of people, and they each have their character, but they have a huge cult following. Like, they have figures and books and I don't know, all kinds of merch out there, but they had that first issue is a ghost. I've never been able to find it for what I thought was reasonable, and then 6 months later, I should have just done it, but that's one. I mean, that's just a total random, you know.
Oh, I got a question, Phil. Like, as a dealer, how far in advance do you guys get as far as what books are going to be con exclusives? Like, are you privy to any kind of that information?
I mean, it really depends. You know, I can walk around and be like, hey, you know, you guys selling this and what time? And, you know, I'm a vendor as well. And, you know, and like, yeah, I mean, if I want to, I could be like, hey, you know, if you guys see something that's nice in my booth, you know, I mean, I'll hook you guys up if you let me, you know, take a look at the shorts of the store exclusives. I could do that, but I've never done that.
I'm so glad I'm helping you in Baltimore, bro.
And to answer Big Remo's question, yes, both those were both Momoko covers for the Usagi for San Diego and New York City Comic Con.
But I'll tell you one thing though, those oh, I'm sorry, Aaron, but yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Some of these publishers, like they hate us, man. Like Image. But like at Image, I mean, there was a snafu with Image with the Spawn 300 at New York Comic Con, and it wasn't any of the vendors. It was one, but on the floor. But there was a snafu, and yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard the story what happened, but
No, tell it, Phil.
the day after, people, well, okay, the story, okay, in quotations, was that an employee at the Image booth let a customer buy like 50 copies of Spawn 300, like the gold and the silver combined, whatever, or some kind of combination of that, like 80 to 100 copies or something like that. I actually know the dude that actually bought it. So, but I didn't see it with my own eyes, right? But they didn't have enough for the customers and other people that wanted that book, and it just caused humongous drama. And like,
wow,
the employees, like the employees working the booth were just like, they're like, I mean, I picked up a monstrous trade paperback exclusive, and I wanted to buy it, and I had a question about it, and they just completely ignored me. They saw me with the vendor badge. I'm like, all right, guys. I mean, you guys clearly are not caring about making money. And this was like on a Saturday. Like, it wasn't going to sell out. So, I mean, it is what it is. But you also, I mean, don't hate us for the mistake that you guys make, you know?
I just kind of assume that there's some percentage of shenanigans with any pawn exclusive, with any movie theater exclusive, you know, with any even these foreign exclusives that are coming in from the La Mole or the Turkish or the Italian. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's regulations that they're supposed to follow, but yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, honestly, like I've talked to some of these vendors that do these exclusives, and they're like, if they don't sell out, they're like, that's all they have are these con exclusives. If they don't sell out, it's a negative show for them. Like you're minus $5,000-$6,000 in the hole if you don't sell out your con exclusive that you've done with Marvel and like DC. Like they require a huge order. So I mean, you're just dead in the water, man. And then yeah, you're down $5,000-$6,000 buy-in with the booth, like the 2 booths, hotel, rental of the vehicle, labor. And then you're down another $10,000 on exclusives that did not sell out. And now you're going to have to pawn them off somewhere to Diamond or My Comic Shop, and just to even make some money back. So, I mean, I feel it for these store exclusives and these owners, like the hustle. I'm never, ever going to do one. Well, never say never. But I just see the logistics. It's a nightmare. It's a rinse, cycle, repeat type of business model that I don't want any part of. I rather spec on back issue books, buy collections, and sell, and pick and choose whatever con exclusives, store exclusives that fit my fancy. You know?
Yeah.
You know, like Image or whoever does these con exclusives, you can't tell me that they don't know if a book is hot. You know what I mean? Like they look, especially if it's a key artist, and it just like somebody's got to say something. Man, that book is going to fly out of here. Like,
All right. I'm glad you guys brought up Image.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm not that good. But I did want to show this. This recent
that's an ugly cover, bro.
like con exclusive. This was popping like a month ago, right? Not even, right? Because there's a first appearance in it, and then but I mean, like, look at like some of the most recent sales. Like there was a buy it now for $53, and then an auction that ended on September 5th for $32. So I mean, I think it goes to show you that like Phil is saying, you got to be careful on what you hedge your bets on.
Man, that's an ugly book, bro. I wouldn't pay $3 for that book.
But also
I'm
Invincible,
sorry,
Iron
I don't
Man.
want to piss off anybody that's probably hey, I bought that book, man.
But
But
yeah,
Ugly book, ugly covers still sell. Ugly covers
that's
matter
true,
still.
man. But like, damn, dude, like,
It's not that.
what's the
bad.
requirement? I think I can draw something like that, bro. You know what I mean? Jesus
It's
Christ,
a stylist.
dude.
yeah.
The public, hey, you sure you want to go with this book, man? You don't have another drawing? This is the one you want to go with? All right, let's to the print,
And
It looks like
bro.
Poison Ivy's crossing over.
yeah. But I mean, this made the CBSI Hot 10 1 week. I don't remember how long ago, but I mean, it was definitely like after after it sold out from IDW's like con exclusive website. I believe the print run is probably like it's like in that 500 range. If I'm
They
not
sometimes
mistaken.
announce how much they have. Sometimes they announce, oh yeah, this is only going to be 250
Hey,
Yeah.
bro,
or 200.
thank
yeah.
God they only printed 500 of these.
I
I'm
mean-
sorry, man.
I mean, I do like this this run of the Star Wars High Adventures. I'm enjoying the series, and this does have a first appearance in it, and I'm sure it's like one of those books that's right now it's like on the dip. But I mean, like, am I running out to go buy it? Probably not. And I was just happy with getting the A cover.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
And then
No, that's a book,
Good
bro.
example.
That's a book.
yeah, so we were also we touched on the subject where a publisher will have a exclusive like the John Tyler Christopher from C2E2, but then also store retailers will have con exclusives. Which all three of these covers are amazing, in my opinion. But I mean, like, am I spending a bunch of money on getting them? No, not really. I mean, I think I did pay like maybe like $50 for the banana Wolverine cover, as it was nicknamed. But and the one thing I did like about that is that each one was numbered to 3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I
Yeah.
like that too. Yeah. When they number them, hell yeah.
So what's interesting about that banana Wolverine was I was there at New York Comic Con. I just kind of sneezed at it. I like, all right, I'll buy one copy for myself, and I'm gonna buy one copy for a friend and just give it to him for free. So, yeah, gave
I
away
thought it
about
was-
$350 right there. But
wasn't it a C2E2 exclusive, or was it?
yeah,
New
I
York?
was at. Oh my bad. It was at C2E2, and then it actually came back out again virtually. Later on. I don't think it hit New York Comic Con, but that's the thing with some of these John Tyler Christopher variants for the con exclusive. Sometimes like they'll randomly have like they'll find a box or something, and
Yeah.
then and then
Yeah.
and then it'll just be available on the Repop shop, randomly, and it'll just be sitting there, and someone posts it on Facebook, and then everyone goes wild and stuff. But I mean, with these con variants, man, it's just like that magical drop. You don't know when it's gonna happen online, and people just love something to chase, man. I mean, it's just human nature.
Yeah.
That Wolverine cover that kind of started the heat on John on the negative space covers.
Right.
I mean,
Because
he had a lot before that, but that's when people started really seeking them out.
yeah, I mean, and it was kind of almost like predictable to see that too. That's when those books were popping, was when they took a popular character like Wolverine, and then threw because it's in that yellow and blue colors that we all remember from the animated series, and as soon as that happened, those road covers immediately followed, like the first rogue, the John Tyler Christopher rogue, I should say. Like, because now there's a JSC one, which is also popping right now. I mean, it might have cooled down.
I had a
I
chance
like
to look
how
at
other artists now have figured out that he didn't copyright the negative space idea. We've had
But
Campbell, we've had Scotty Young.
Yeah, but John Tyler Christopher has a history, as we've seen on the Pro Spec list. What you had one of his first ones, the Witchblade nominated. Dollar nominated the one of the early Marvel ones, which was the the Amazing Spider-Man. With the blue background.
With the Cho,
yeah,
Frank Cho, or Michael Cho.
Was it
Oh,
Michael?
it was Frank Cho, I think. Frank Cho. My bad.
I thought it was still JTC that did that one. The 6. I don't. He's in the chat. He might.
Well,
remember.
Cho also
6
has one too. I think it's all red. Yeah.
Okay.
If anybody's going to do negative space variant, I think like I got a chance to see the negative space variant of what was it, Rogue? Thanks, Phil. But like J. Scott Campbell, he brought it on that cover, bro. Like, and I said this before, is like J. Scott Campbell was like, all right, JTC, you think you can draw negative space? Let me show you how to draw negative space. Like, that's the way it seemed to me, because it seemed like John Tyler Christopher had cornered the market, and then J. Scott Campbell was like, well, does he have copyrights to draw negative space? I want to draw some negative space. That should be a thing. I'd like to see more artists do their interpretation of negative space and see what maybe that could be a thing. But I know I'm looking here in the chat, and some people are like, I'm tired of space variant.
Yeah.
Well, it's a niche-y thing,
Yeah. Would you consider Nakayama's a negative space?
Yeah, I would. David Nakayama's he's coming up, man. That guy is amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Yeah, one
shout
thing
out
I like
David
to look
Nakayama.
At, yeah, DNA baby, come on board, baby.
Yeah.
Come on for a show, baby. But yeah,
Keep calling him baby, and he'll.
Man, we gotta get. So we had him. We had him. He had to pick up the kids, man. So we're gonna try and get
Work
him
your
on
magic,
one of
Joe.
these shows. Yeah, man. I keep on bothering him. So Red Hood, leave me alone, man.
But yo, I'm just saying that the chat does have a point. You know, if you don't know, there's pockets of windows of these covers, right? Like, wasn't it like super hot that like, yeah, it was like the photorealistic, variants, and you can only get them in store exclusives, and then you'd have right now a trend is that store variant owners, right? They're signing these artists like they're finding the next greatest artist, right? And they're going on a huge run of they sign them to a contract to do like 7, 10 covers, 5 covers. And yeah, you as an investor and a collector, like, do you want to take the ride and do the whole thing, or do you want to just buy 1 or 2 and then sit out? So with the con exclusive, it's a little bit spaced out, but that's just something to think about. That's what I think about if I want to get in. Like, wasn't it zombie variants and covers super hot like 15 years ago, and now they're back? I mean, things always recycle over again, but yeah, I mean, think about the windows when you're looking at store variants and con exclusives.
I still, I still feel for the people who don't have the opportunity to get the con variants live. You know what I mean? So I guess my advice, being one of those people, if you are a collector and if you want in on that market, what I would recommend is, if there is a con that you've heard about, whatever, C2E2, NYCC, San Diego, even Emerald City does a good number of exclusive variants. When that con is happening, do a Google search. You'll be able to find, images of all of the exclusives from that con. That's your time to buy in. If there's one that you really connect with, that some artist that you love, or some, for whatever reason, pick it up at that point in time before it gets any press, before it gets any heat on YouTube. Because there are people who go to those cons and buy a bunch of them, and they'll jump on eBay right away, not for $700, but like you said, that banana Wolverine, those were selling right off the bat for more than what they paid for them. But $50 for a raw, JTC negative space Wolverine, I would pay that right now. That was a good deal.
Yeah.
If you knew about it right away, you could have bought in right away. So if you don't connect with any of them, don't buy any of them. They're not investment pieces unless it's something that, if you connect with it, there's probably going to be a lot of other people who connect with it too. So be one of the first people to get your eyes on it. I guess that's my advice.
Right.
So Tony, being from the Midwest, and I just spent a week in the Midwest, and I went to a con out there, and things are, human populations of comic communities are very, very spaced out, and that's one thing I really, really noticed in Kentucky. So being in the Midwest, do you feel more of an itch to buy store variants versus con variants that you would have a hard time, getting the time to get out to?
I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, I like to see all of the retailer variants, the store variants. So, getting on their email lists or just following them on Instagram, where you get an alert. I like getting the alert if whatever Frankie's or Wonderworld or whoever has a one that's dropping tomorrow and they're announcing it. I like to see it, and at least I have that option. But I don't know. I'm not a big. I do invest a lot in books, but I don't invest a lot in either one of these areas, into con books or retailer variants. I think I pick and choose, but in general, they're not great investments, for how much money it costs to get into one. Mm-hmm. And you look at what some 9.8 sell for on eBay of these store exclusives. I mean, it could be like $120. Like, that's not worth it for a $40 buy-in.
You got to catch lightning in a bottle. I mean, it's got to be, it's got to be a low print run. It's got to be like just amazing art. It's got to be a key book. It's I mean it. I mean, it's got to be something that the value won't go down. Like it'll just keep climbing. And because it's always going to be sought after. Now, and that's why I was asking Phil, do you have like knowledge like a week out? What are going to be these books? Because then you can let that marinate and say, hey, that might be, I need about 3 or 4 of those. That's going to be a key book.
Sometimes I have privy to that information and I don't do anything with it. Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But I have a question for Aaron. Being such a junkie for Something Is Killing the Children, and then now we're getting into issue 18. Would you still invest in Something Is Killing the Children store variants with so many coming out every month?
Oh, are you talking about like with House of Slaughter, or are you talking about with specifically?
Okay, yeah, let's throw House of Slaughter in there too. Sure, why not?
I mean, so what I've been doing for that is like I'm still reading Something Is Killing the Children. Here's a little breadcrumbs for everyone. In issue 19, there's 2 first appearances of some twins that I figured they're probably going to be doing something bigger in the overall story arc with Aaron. Since was that in that issue? Yeah, I think that was in that issue. So I feel like those 2 characters are going to play a bigger role in House of Slaughter because they're his bullies. So I forget their names, but with House of Slaughter coming out with a, because I think I was joking around with Dennis on this or whatever. I was asking either on my Whatnot show or on his, like he was saying, what do you think about that 1 in 1,000? Or no, it was on my show because I was showing Del Auto books. So there's a 1 in 1,000 coming out, right, for House of Slaughter for issue 1. That's a Del Auto cover. And then I was like, hey Dennis, did you order 1,000 copies of House of Slaughter? He's like, no. I was like, is it because there's so many store exclusives they're gonna come out for that? And he's like, yes, exactly. And then, am I as a, I would consider myself like a light seller, just to fund my collection and everything. Am I gonna buy 1,000 copies of House of Slaughter? No. Like, why would I? There's going to be so many store exclusives coming out that those 1 in 1,000s, all those retailers are going to have them too. And then the whole thing, like buying them blind right now. I mean, I guess FOC just passed, and then at the end of the month they can show off the covers and stuff like that. And then now on top of this, also with the high demand of the book and stuff like that they delayed it another week or 2 or whatever till the end of October. I don't know. Like, I'm still gonna read it, but I'm probably not gonna go as hard as I did like Something Is Killing the Children, if that makes sense.
Walking Dead lasted 100-something issues,
Yeah.
People were not specking on Walking Dead as hard by issue 20 though as they are on Something's Killing the Children.
True. Very true.
There's you were talking about how many retailers will buy 1,000 copies. There's probably a lot of just speculators that will buy 1,000 copies.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
you gotta buy their minimum too.
I like the series and I like it. The book, I like the chances. I want to see it on screen, but wow, we are priced for. We are priced for.
I know it's kind of off topic, but we kind of touched on it on Negative Space. Can you pull up that Nakayama, that one that he just did?
You got to remind me.
What issue is it, Joe?
Or who's the character?
I think it's Cyclops. Is it Cyclops?
He's had a bunch recently. I don't know if I would consider him. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, but I don't know if I would consider him negative
Yeah,
space. 'cause
it's
you
a
do see an
blue. It's a
outline
blue Cyclops cover.
Yeah, I
where
mean,
the background is the same color as the costume, but it is kind of delineated where the costume is.
I mean, some people say if the title's on the cover, it's not a negative space.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Mm,
Oh, there's a yellow one.
Yeah, the yellow one's someone else.
that's a badass one. Who's that? Don
Yeah.
Aurelio? No, that doesn't seem like that's negative space, though.
Go to Unknown Comics' website, and they're the ones selling these. They have them DNA signed,
Okay.
so it could be on the homepage there.
Joe, just so you know, as we're talking, I'm going through books that I'm gonna ask you later if I can send
is this
to you
it?
the press.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, go to that Virgin one, man. That's kind of badass, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Let's ask the audience if they would buy that.
I like the cover, but I would not call that a negative space. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, it's the
I
same.
mean, it's not full on negative space, and maybe that wasn't his intention, but
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. That's pretty
All right.
cool.
All right. Any final thoughts from anyone?
Well, I'm thinking maybe we can do a poll of like,
Okay.
if you buy a store variant or a con variant, are you buying it to collect? Are you buying it to flip? Or you just won't buy it? Maybe
Yeah.
we can have 3 options like that.
All right.
Yeah, just to get a perspective.
it.
Let's get the pulse of the
Okay.
audience here.
Okay. Are you buying?
And you know, having said what I said before about being kind of suspect about the value of those, I'm still a sucker, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
you see art that pops up, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, there's only there's only 800 of them. Oh yeah. I'll be available at 2:00 tomorrow when they go on sale.
That's
I
why
maybe I should set an alert.
you battle being a collector or a seller. I mean, it's always the good angel and the devil, like buy, sell, buy, sell, keep it,
Yeah,
keep it. You know.
you look in historical context a little bit. Just peel back maybe a decade or two, and those dynamic forces variants with the
Yeah, man.
signatures and the COA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're like they made a lot of them sometimes, but like they're now popping in price right now. Like,
Oh hell yeah!
if you hoarded, you did good. Like look
all
at
those
Image
Star
with
Wars, man. All those Dynamic Forces Star Wars.
right.
Dynamic
Oh my God,
Forces
you're
J. Scott Campbell.
Clone Wars.
Hell
What,
yeah!
you know what I mean? But look at also Image with those ash cans, man, like Gen 13 and Max.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that Max is like amazing money right now. So I mean, hey, there is some history to these exclusives, and I mean, you never know, right? But
You know, that's a great point, Phil. Like if you hang on to these things and it's great artwork, or it's the book is never really going to go down. It'll always come back. There will always be a demand if it's the right artist, and there's something key about the book. It'll eventually come back.
Well, I think the biggest lesson to pull away from this is also that, if you're kind of like the first to market, you can kind of set the bar. I mean, I'm not saying to like gouge people like for ridiculous money, but I mean, I guess it
prices
happens.
are going up.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen no matter what. So, I mean, if you put it at an auction and you're first on eBay or wherever, then like people are going to drive up the price because no one else has it. Just the simple like thing of supply and demand. But once everyone has it, then we kind of see the price slowly drop because there's not, because the person that has the most money that can spend that much money already spent it and doesn't need like multiple copies at that same
Right.
price.
Right.
But I mean, sometimes if you're patient enough, like you can get the books that you want for, you know, what their initial buy-in was, or maybe just a little bit over. So I think that's the most important lesson to take away, that you buy books that you enjoy having in your collection.
Yeah. My final
Yeah.
thought is that know who, if you're doing a con, if you're buying a con variant or store exclusive, know the pattern of how, if they don't sell out, what happens. Does the store or the con sometimes do deals? You know what I mean? Like IDW, like if they don't sell out, they're like, okay, 80% off like 3 years from now. You know what I mean? So Unknown, like they're straightforward. They're like, oh yeah, they'll have their buy one get one off deal, you know, and then you know that going in as an investor. And yeah, and the books still do well sometimes, you know. I'm not friends with the Unknown guy. I've talked to him a couple of times, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's just good to know. There's some stores that just like they will go humongous discounts later on, and it just, man, it just destroys your investment later on, and it just enrages you sometimes. But you know, but yeah, you know, and the game is changing now. We're getting you know, store exclusive trade paperbacks right now, so it's something always to have on your radar, and be open minded to come back in if you're out right now. That's what I think. Always adapt with the market.
Yeah.
I have two final thoughts on this. One, and I don't mean to trash any retailers. We have a lot, you know, that we work with on this channel. Dennis from Wonder World, and the guys from Wanted, the guys from Hive. You know, like you said, it's a tough business to get into retailer variants. So much respect. Do what you got. Like Mel says, just try to make your money. Go ahead. But as a buyer, you don't have to. Don't feel like you have to, you know, buy what you want to buy. If you hear a retailer describing their book, they're going to sell the shit out of it. They're going to sell the shit out of it. It could be, they might know that it might be the worst cover they've had in the last 5 years, but they're going to talk about it like it's mint, like it's going to be a huge collectible. You got to make the decision for yourself. So I guess that's one thing. Don't feel pressure like, oh, I see them on YouTube, I got to support them, I got to go buy everything they put out. That's not true. The second thing is there are opportunities with retailer variants, not with the variant itself, but if for whatever reason that book, if there's a key thing that happened in that book and you are speccing on it, go to that retailer's website, because they had to buy, you know, thousands of copies to get, you know, to meet their quota, to meet their number. They're going to get how many of the, you know, like if it's an IDW book, how many 1 in 10s do they get? They're just sitting on a shit ton of them. I bought like 20 copies of TMNT 101, first appearance of Lita, the albino turtle, from Slabbed Heroes over in the UK, just because they did a variant for it. They had a crap ton of copies they were selling for like $10 a piece. And this was after the book had already popped. So we kind of rag on the retailers for increasing the print run too much sometimes, but you can take advantage of that too, because they might be looking to unload those copies. Like if you're into Berserker, you can find some cheap ratio variants right now with a lot of retailers.
I just wanted to say one retailer variant that I should have picked up like 10 copies of was the Stray Dogs from Hive Comics, because that book, it keeps going up. That's one book. Like I was asking, hey, what book is a grail for you guys? Like that Stray Dogs from Hive. That book, I can't see that, and that's because like they haven't even like wait till that movie comes out, bro, and wait till these spin-off books and things like that. I mean, they haven't even touched where they can take this this world of Stray Dogs. Like that's going to be an important book. Like for real, for real.
Well,
Like
and
that's a
it,
book I gotta get.
I mean, and I'm not going to disagree with you at all on that statement because look at what that gallery cover book did.
Fuck yeah, the one per store.
Yeah, where that
Oh
just like
yeah.
that just popped off like crazy. Like, um, I mean, it might have been something like where only parts of the country only got it, and then the next following week, the rest of them got it. But I mean, yeah, it's so insane on that. And then before we close out the night, I'm going to end the poll. But it looks like the question I asked was, "Are you buying con exclusives as an investment?" And it looks like, oh, what was it? Oh, just disappeared. Hold on 1 second. As it's closing, it looks like a lot of people were saying it depends on the book. So 58% said depends on the book, 29% said no, and then 12% said yes.
So it depends on the book. So I mean, yeah. So if it's a hot character like Spawn or something, or I'm not sure if they would invest in King Spawn, but I mean, there it says it's almost a split.
Yeah.
Buy at your own risk. You got
Yeah.
a smart crowd here,
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. Make sure to like and subscribe. We have great content every night of the week. And yeah, good luck digging out there.
I tell you, we got to give away a book or something. Like this guy Chad Cave, he's been active in the chat all night long. We got to do a giveaway. So if there's any way for Chad to reach out, give us your address, and we'll send you a pretty cool book. I'll send you a book, man. I appreciate all the engagement during the chat, bro.
Yep. Make sure to hit up Red Hood Comics.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Yeah, you can hit me on. Well, we wanted to bother you, Yee.
Oh
no, man. Not, hey, Chad, hit me up at Red Hood Comic on IG, man. I'll hook you up with a book, dude. Appreciate you being very active in the chat, man.
All right, and then yeah, we still need to plan out something like that again because we were supposed to do that a while ago. So we'll brainstorm on that and we'll do a proper giveaway at some point.
Okay, yeah.
But thank you again for your support, Chad. All right.
Yeah, and if you're in chat next time we're on, remind us too. Sometimes we just forget about it till we get off.
Yeah.
Till we get off the feed.
All right. We'll catch you on the flip side.